Hello learners, BME 025 Condition Monitoring and Maintenance Management, video number 10, part 3, Design FMEA. Presented by myself, Dr. N. Venkateshwarlu, Associate Professor, Mechanical Engineering, School of Engineering and Technology, Indira Gandhi National Open University, New Delhi. Objectives. Learners, after listening this video, you should be able to understand Design FMEA, explain the steps for carrying out Design FMEA, describe Quality Control Plan and Process FMEA, discuss hazard function and reliability. These are the various objectives we will be able to learn after listening this video lecture. Learners, introduction of Design FMEA. FMECA is the process performed to identifying the various failure modes of machine, equipment, process, product, etc. It also carried out to assess the risk associated with that failure modes such as loss to the production and company. Design FMEA is performed to identify the potential failure modes of a new product or process through the failure analysis. This is already we have learned in the last video, and again just for introduction, it is a failure mode effect analysis or failure mode effect criticality analysis. These two tools are utilized to identify the failure modes of a particular machine, process or product. Introduction of Design FMEA. Design FMEA is performed to identify and address areas of potential risk within the component or system design. The objective is to review the product design and to establish the following. We are conducting Design FMEA. It is for the identifying the failure modes. So for that, what are the main functional elements of design? Which are the potential failures? What are the effects of failures? Which are the main causes of failures? Which are the controls used to prevent failures? From this analysis, an assessment of failure potential of the design is made, and this is expressed as the risk priority number. The reliability of the component or the subsystem is used to calculate the occurrence value. For measure anything, we should have some number. So for that, here we have to find out the risk associated with that failure mode, a failure of a particular machine or a process. So what will be the effect? So it will be measured as the risk priority number, where the value of risk priority number is high. This indicates the need for design corrective action to prevent the likelihood of reliability problem. So the Design FMEA may recommend changes to be made to a product design so as to reduce risk of failure in the field or of the manufacturing process. So when the RPN is more, it may be greater than 90, then it indicates we can say that there is a more risk, so that some corrective actions to be taken, so that the process can be made okay. So in that way, if the RPN is less, so there is no any risk. So if it is below 50%, so then there will be less risk. So like that, one has to find out the risk number so that it can identify the risk associated with that failure mode. So this is the advantage of a risk priority number. The following is the list of recommended documents which would facilitate the efforts of Design FMEA team. So the team is constituted to conduct the FMEA. For them, there are various requirements like data requirements, data about customer specifications, engineering drawings, warranty information of similar product, or previous performed design FMEA on similar approaches. The past conducted study, that you can say previously performed design. So in the past, if any similar design FMEA has been conducted on particular product or particular machine, then that data also can be utilized for this new design FMEA team. Process flow diagram, process capability diagram, reliability test results, experimental as well as batch analysis reports or prototype evaluation, prototype build data and list of problems experienced, design of experimental data. So all this data is very much required for the design FMEA team, so that they can perform that efficiently to find out the occurrences, failure mode occurrences and detection and severity of the failure. So all these things can be done by observing or by studying the data available with them. Design FMEA. Design FMEA should be initiated before or at design concept finalization at component level, subsystem level and system level. So if any component, any system is there, so it has subsystems and number of components. So when the design to be started, so when the concept finalization stage itself, we have to think about the failure mode analysis. So design FMEA team consists of the various teams of design FMEA are as shown in figure 1. Here the design FMEA manufacturing team, marketing and sales team, technical or engineering team, then design team. So manufacturing team, they will give the information about the machinery utilized or tools utilized in that manufacturing process or manufacturing machines. So they will give the information about the manufacturing processes to in the team, so that they can discuss. Like that, the marketing team and sales team, they will collect the customer requirements, collect customer feedback. So that information can be utilized for the design FMEA. So similarly, then engineering team also, they will also think about how to simplify or how to reduce the problems in the process. So then all this information, after collecting the information or data, then design team will design the product or the design where to reduce the failure modes. The design team needs the various inputs from the other teams. So these are the various teams utilized for design FMEA. Steps for carrying out design FMEA. The following are steps for carrying out design FMEA. Select a system, subsystem or part and identify its functions. List potential failure modes. List potential effects of the failure. Estimate the severity numbers. Estimate the occurrence number. What diagram verification measures were taken, example prototype testing or pilot run test. Estimate the detection number. If D is equal to or greater than 5, take closer look at measures for detection. If D greater than or equal to 5 implies high risk. Compute the RPN number. So these are the various steps required for carrying out design FMEA analysis. Can the system fail because of customer abuse or other in-use condition? If so, re-estimate severity, occurrence, detection and recompute RPN. List recommended actions where applicable to lower RPN. List individuals or departments responsible for completing recommended corrective actions. So these are the various steps where one needs the information about the severity number, occurrence number, then detection number, so that the RPN can be calculated. So RPN is the risk priority number. So if the risk priority number is high for the occurrence or detection, then the risk level will be high. So depending upon that, what action should be taken can be decided. So it is useful for the decision making for reducing the risk of a failure mode. List actual actions taken, recompute RPN after corrective actions are implemented, repeat all the steps above for all systems, subsystems and components which are deployed in the product. So these are the various steps for carrying out design FMEA. Suppose a broad guidelines for severity, occurrence and detection ratings levels for design FMEA is as shown in table 9.7. It is also given in the unit. You can read it, you can understand very well. For example, here you can see that if the risk severity number is 10, then the severity level will be high. So for example, the brake failure occurrence in an automobile. So it is if it means brake failure means there is a high risk. So like that, if it is the risk priority number or severity number, it is 7, then the risk will be medium high. For example, the automobile does not start. So risk means it is if you are going somewhere, if the vehicle does not start means it is a high risk. So this is the understanding. Then if it is a severity number is 5, then the medium low risk severity level will be there. So that for that example, automobile speed pickup is not proper. So like this, one has to identify the risk associated with the severity. So these are the various. If it is 2, then the severity level will be very low. So like for example, automobile functional, but there is some vibration in door at high means high risk, like that. So these are the various. This is an example for the RPN or severity number calculation and the relation associated with the risk. So this is one example of a guideline or example for a severity, occurrence and detection rating levels. Then occurrence and detection rating level for design FMEA. The likelihood of occurrence and detection of defects will drive the corresponding occurrence and detection numbers within 1 to 10 range, with the higher number corresponding to higher risk. These numbers would have to be assigned by the participating design FMEA team members as shown in table 9.8 in next slide. So in this slide we can see that the occurrence and detection numbers. So for example, in the this thing in the manufacturing, probability of occurrence at manufacturing location, the occurrence number is, if it is 10, the risk will be high. The occurrence number is 1, then the probability of occurrence at manufacturing location is low. So like that, one has to identify. So if it is risk occurrence number is more, then the risk is high. So in the next one, the detection level. If the detection level is 10, then if you detect before the failure occurs, so then the risk will be less, like that. So if the risk the detection number is less, then the risk is high. The probability of detection within manufacturing location is low, then risk will be high. So this is the where occurrence and detection will be little bit opposite. So these are the severity, occurrence and detection number advantage. Quality control plan and process FMEA. After the identification of potential risk in the manufacturing process, through process FMEA, it is essential that appropriate measures and actions be incorporated within the process quality control plan. For example, a process has identified an X-ray inspection to be performed after a given process step to reduce the RPN to an acceptable level. It now becomes imperative that quality engineer ensures that X-ray inspection be installed and carry out at the desired location as well as on the quality control plan. Thus, the process FMEA will always drive the quality control plan, and two documents would be closely linked to each other. With the passage of time, as the manufacturing engineers gain experience, they will incorporate the changes in the process to make it more risk-free and less prone to producing defects. So for example, in the present situation, see now the present COVID-19 time, sanitization chamber, temperature measure gun installed at the entrance of the workplaces, airports, railway stations, etc. This change process will be implemented in all the important places to make it risk-free and less prone to attack from coronavirus. Even the new processes of wearing masks had become a process of reducing risk from coronavirus. This is an example for the this design FMEA process. Accordingly, both the process FMEA and the control plan get modified simultaneously to reflect the changes and improvements made. Both the process FMEA and quality control plan are living documents for reference on the factory floor. They should be kept on the factory floor readily accessible to factory personnel when required. The continual updating of these documents contributes significantly in maintaining a healthy manufacturing process flow. This is the advantage of a design FMEA, process FMEA and the quality control plan. Then hazard function and reliability. The key concept in the management of reliability is based upon relationship between the probability and time. Accordingly, reliability is defined as the probability that a product or a system will perform its intended function satisfactorily for a stated period of time under specific operating conditions. All of the characteristics used to describe and measure reliability are based upon probability time relationship. So there is a relationship between probability and time for any system. If the system reliability, to find out the system reliability, so a system has to be performed for a without any failure for a particular 2 hours. If it performs accordingly, then we will say that the reliability of that machine is very good. So if it is not performing and if it fails, then the reliability of that machine is very less. So that is the importance of probability time relationship. The basic function describing the variation of failure probability with time is a probability density function. The cumulative distribution function CDF Fx gives the probability that a measure will fall between infinity and x. It is shown in this equation. Fx is equal to integral infinity to x Fy dy. The reliability engineering, we are concerned with the probability that an item will survive for a stated interval. Example, time, cycle, distance, etc. That is, there is no failure in the interval, that is 0 to x. This is given by reliability function Rx, and it follows that Rx is equal to 1 minus Fx, that is equal to integral of 0 to x Fy dy. This is the formula for the hazard function. then the hazard function or hazard rate Hx is the conditional probability of failure in the interval x to x plus dx. Given that there was no failure by x, that is equal to Hx is equal to Fx by Rx, that is equal to Fx by 1 minus Fx. So now a question, so what is potential failure mode? To find out what is a potential failure mode, potential failure mode is defined as the manner in which the process could potentially fail to meet the process requirements or design intent. It is a description of non-conformance at that specific operation. It can be a cause associated with the potential failure in a previous operation. So the failure mode means how we can say that the process could be designed for a particular there are design specification. In a process it has to be performed for a particular to machining a particular operation. So it has to perform for example a 500 product 500 quantity has to be produced. So if it is producing, then we can say that the design is okay, and the process requirement for design is also okay, and it is meeting the requirements. But if it is not meeting that requirements, then we say that the potential of failure is more. However, in preparation of FMEA, the assumption should be made that incoming parts and materials are correct. Potential failure modes are fail to operate, fail to provide adequate power, coil fail to provide required EMF, speed cannot be controlled, part leaking or part undersize or part oversize. So these are the potential failure modes when we are getting the material from the supplier. So some failure modes it can be observed. Some of the questions asked to detect potential failure modes are as follows. So while conducting this failure mode analysis, one has to ask some questions. That these are: how could this process fail to do its intended function? How the customer will find it unacceptable? So how he is saying how it is not acceptable to the customer. So like that, everybody should ask some questions so that he can get some idea from the customers, and then he can incorporate in the design intent. How the customer will not conform to specifications. Why could a part be injected at a particular operation? These are the various questions one has to ask while performing a failure mode to find out the potential failure modes. Conclusions. Learners, I hope you understood what is design FMEA, steps for carrying out design FMEA, quality control plan and process FMEA, and hazard function and reliability. Thank you.